Castle Goring, from Mickey, Aurora, and from me. Well, before we start, there is a charity radio station, FM station, called Resonance FM, which is run by a lovely young woman called Patricia Vincent. And I have had the pleasure of being interviewed by Patricia Vincent. And she has asked me if I could please read out something, because they're having, which ends tomorrow. Sadly, she waited until the 99th hour to let me know. They're having a fundraising series of things, raffles, etc., etc. And she has asked me to post a link, and she has also said that she would send me this script, which I'm going to read out. This is from her. I have a treat for you today. I am supporting a community arts radio station and charity whose annual fundraiser is on this week by donating an item to their online raffle. What's on offer is tea for four with me and the girls here at Castle Goring on a date and time to be mutually agreed with the winners. So, if you'd like to be in with a chance for you and up to 3 other companions to join me for afternoon tea at Castle Goring, please click on the link below or go to Mickey's moving and rocking the paper and the writing is really small. Go to www.fundraiser.resonance.fm. Anyway, we're going to post it, so it doesn't matter. And look for the Workplaces online raffle. Follow the instructions on how to enter, and I look forward to having the lucky winner and companions over for tea. And I do. It's a very, very good cause. Okay, so before plunging in, I will say I've received 1 or 2 complaints about the fact that the jewellery I was wearing was not quite as elaborate as it sometimes is. Well, I'm going to tell you something. With winter clothes, really, sometimes less is more. And pearls and rather less glitzy things do sometimes work better. However, since I don't mind being remonstrated with by those of you who like my jewellery, I'm plunging in with these. Okay, so here goes. AP Moore says, Lady C, on South Park, Meghan is described as a first lady, a botherer. Do you know what that's about? I'm hearing something to do with Michele Obama. Is that right? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I have to tell you, if you examine what South Park has done, they have been absolutely brilliant. They have a wonderful team of researchers, and they have hit upon many an insight and many a little scandal, shall we say? Well, I have heard from somebody who knows Michele Obama, and this is not only recently that I've heard it. I've heard it for quite a while. Michele Obama cannot abide Meghan Markle. Now, I don't want to sort of create waves for anybody, so I'm going to be very moderate in what I say, and very restrained, actually. Michele Obama has expressed the view to people close to her that she cannot afford nor would wish to be tainted by somebody who treats her family and institutions that Michele Obama respects with the contempt and the recklessness. She, I have been told, regards Meghan Markle as a dangerous loose cannon whose abilities fall far short of her accomplishments. She despises people who have no respect for family life. She despises people who have no dignity, who have no decorum, no respect for elegant presentation. And say what you will about Michelle and Barack Obama, they always are impeccably presented. You may not like the content of what they say if you are not political affiliates of theirs, but their presentation is and has always been immaculate. That means, therefore, that she could never have liked a whining, whinging, pathetic, victim signaling, virtue signaling, pretentious piffler like Meghan Markle, and she evidently doesn't. She has tried to keep as much distance from them as she possibly can. She has, in her own way, made her opinions felt not only privately, but publicly. She has emphasized publicly, as well as privately, the value she places upon family life and decorous behavior. She and her husband had a very great deal of respect and affection for the late Queen. They get along very well with Prince King Charles. Sorry, my mouth slipped for a second. They have a lot of respect for the King. They have a lot of respect for the present Queen, Camilla. They have a lot of respect for William and Catherine. I understand they used to rather like Harry, but have shied away from him. Harry and Meghan have tainted themselves, and South Park has got it absolutely hitting the nail on the head. What the general public may not realize is that the royal family has always, in my lifetime, with the exception of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, who was decidedly Edwardian in her attitudes, and certainly believed in the rich man in his castle and the poor man at the gate, that she was the world she was brought up in, and she thought that was the perfectly acceptable natural order. The Queen and Prince Philip never felt like that. I've said it in all the books I've written, that they have been relatively pink. Lord Mountbatten was very pink. Lady Mountbatten was she was so pink she was actually almost red. She also used to say she was not particularly a monarchist. Well, the true royals are definitely monarchist, but they are very centrist. They are not right-wingers, and they are not rabid left-wingers either, but they are definitely not the sort of people whose sympathies their to either extreme, and definitely not to the right-wing extremists. Michele Obama, and I've taken the notes, so I'm going to read it out, said to a friend of hers who told me she respects family life and family links, and she deplores people who try to undermine family life and family links. So, yes, she also, and this is a little bit of scandal for you, she also has evidently never got over the fact that when Meghan was doing her Vogue thingy, if I remember correctly, that's what it was, the Vogue, editing Vogue magazine, she lied and said she'd had lunch with Michele Obama when she hadn't. That evidently was the first red flag that Michele Obama was pulled up very forcibly by. And it's gone downhill from then. So any approaches from Meghan have been rebuffed in, I'm choosing my words carefully if you don't mind. They have been rebuffed in the most polite and inoffensive terms possible. But what's really gone on? South Park got it, and I'm telling you it in rather more detail than South Park told you. Because Michele Obama does not like what Meghan stands for. She also does not like political irresponsibility as it is enacted by Meghan. So that was also what I was told. So I'm passing that on for good measure. Grace Canadaful says, South Park used the same trick with their episode as Harry did, saying that Meghan never said racist, that the press did. South Park never said that their satire is about Meghan. The public did. Well spotted, Grace Canadaful. Yes, but you need to understand with Harry and Meghan, when the shoe's on your foot, it's hideous. When it's on theirs, it's beautiful. Same shoe, different perspective and different perception. Okay? But yeah, this is why they cannot sue, aside from the fact it's not defamatory, it's satire, and it's true, and it's not with any malice. It's just a roast. It's a send-up. But note, they went to the trouble of informing everybody that they wanted to sue. Then they counteracted afterwards. You see their technique? Attention, 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 more and more attention. If I don't have enough attention, it gives me a whole load of tension. I can't stand the tension. I need attention. Gosh, talk about spoilt brats. They certainly should have had the rod. Paula Scott says, Princess Anne is an absolute hero to stand up for Lady Susan. Well done. Well, Paula Scott, I have a lot of respect for Princess Anne's character. She is definitely somebody who puts her mouth where her principles are, and she is anything but a pusillanimous people pleaser and virtue signaling hypocrite. But she's not the first. Oh, I said at the time that the whole unfortunate business was going on, that irrespective of what was being done, so that Susan Hussey would fall on her sword to preserve the Earthshot Prize and save William and Catherine from being involved in another debacle such as Meghan and her race baiting had caused in Jamaica on their visit in summer, that privately nothing would change. I know a lot of people think the matter was handled very badly, and I certainly think the wording of the announcement could have been improved, and that would have spared William the criticism that he got in terms of supposedly throwing his godmother under the bus. Slightly different wording could have fulfilled the purpose, which was to deflect accusations of racism away from the royal family. And yes, the whole thing was tremendously damaging for everybody and extremely wounding for all the participants, except, of course, Ngozi Fulani, otherwise known as Marlene Headley, who flourished until the charity commissioners decided to investigate. Oh dear, oh dear. Isn't it terrible when you have secrets and things to hide? And then you put your head above the parapet, and then all of a sudden, the light that you are shining in the face of others comes into your little corners. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, you might not know it, but Dame Frances Campbell-Preston, whose memorial service Sue Hussey attended, is Sue Hussey's aunt, her maternal aunt. Her mother was a Grenfell who married the 12th Lord Wardegrave, Earl Wardegrave in his rank. Her sister-in-law, incidentally, was a tremendously funny comedian, songwriter, entertainer, Joyce Grenfell, who was a huge star in the 50s to the 70s. Sue Hussey's mother, Mary Grenfell, was, now let me see if I remember to get this right, the sister of Joyce Grenfell's husband. Joyce Grenfell was a Langham. Her father, or was it her grandfather? Her grandfather was Chisel Langham, who was the American railway multimillionaire. And one of his daughters was Nancy Astor, the famous Lady Astor, whose son, Bill, was involved in the Profumo scandal. So the Wardegraves are a very interesting family because Sue Hussey was born Lady Susan Wardegrave. She is a descendant of the first Lord Wardegrave, who was a baron. And I'm trying to get it. what is it again? I'll get there. The first Earl Wargrave was the son of the first Lord Wargrave, because they went up 2 degrees in rank from Baron to Earl. The first Baron Wargrave was married to Henrietta Fitzjames, who was the illegitimate daughter of King James II, who was deposed ultimately, and Arabella Churchill, who was the sister of the first Duke of Marlborough, the great General John Churchill, the hero of Blenheim. Frances Campbell-Preston, who died at 104, some age now, she had links to Argyll because she sat on the Argyll County Council until she was made a lady-in-waiting in 1965, because she was widowed in 1960. She was married to Robert Campbell-Preston, who for a while was, I think, an equerry to one of the Canadian Governors General, Lord Tweedsmuir, I think. I could be slightly wrong there, but I think. And he then came back. They came back to England. They were married, I think, in 1938, and the war started. They came back. He was an army officer, and he ended up in Colditz as one of the prisoners. And they had 4 children, and he died in a car crash in 1960. And Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, because the name Campbell-Preston might be a giveaway, it's something to do with Scotland. And the Queen Mother loved her Scottish connections. And she made her a lady-in-waiting in 1965. And so she was a devoted lady-in-waiting. So Sue Hussey's aunt was a lady-in-waiting. Sue Hussey herself was a lady-in-waiting. So you begin to see the links. And also the mere fact that the Wargraves are descended from King James II means that they are cousins, distant cousins, but cousins nevertheless of our royal family. Distaff relations, wrong side of the blanket. Nevertheless, none of that matters nowadays. So, Princess Anne did the right thing. King Charles did the right thing by having Susan Hussey to stay at Sandringham, and she went to church with them. I told you, she was never going to be dropped privately. Why would she be dropped privately? She was fulfilling her duty. Unfortunately, in the climate of the moment, there was no way of getting that point across without the racists and the race baiters going totally hysterical. So the family poured cold water on the whole situation. Sadly, some of it splashed in such a way that it maybe slightly soiled some of the participants. Susan Hussey is a very admirable woman. And more than that, I think I don't need to say. Janet Wilcock says, there is no reason for Madame to feel included because it's not about her. Harold and his wife are no longer working royals and will have no official role at the coronation. And if they don't like it, they're welcome to do us all a favour and stay away. Janet Wilcock, how can you be so cruel? Janet Wilcock, you're just awful. How can you be so cruel? How could you say there's no reason for me to feel excluded because it's not all about me? It's always all about me. What are you talking about? I mean, why doesn't that wretched father-in-law of mine, what's his name again? Aurora, come on. Help out on him, Meghan. What's the wretched king's name again? Carlos Primero. Carlos, whatever. Anyway, whatever his name is. Why would it be all about him? It's really, everything's always all about me. Of course it's all about me. I mean, just imagine, with my sense of style, I can really make that coronation classy. Yeah, I can. I mean, why should we have ermine? I mean, let's have chicken feathers instead. I think chicken feathers and maybe a little bit of blood, a nice little bit of obia or whatever it's called, Santinori or whatever they call it. Just imagine if Meghan put her talents to it. She could design new hairstyles for everybody, tendrils everywhere for those who want to look like Medusa. Lots of nice browning up so that, we should invest in bronzer before the price goes shooting up, because it's going to be a total clear out of the bronzing department in every cosmetic store and on every cosmetic counter. She's classy. I mean, I'm a force for change. Not all this old tradition. I mean, she used to snare a tradition. She and Harry, and it's in my book, so it's nothing new, this. They used to snare a tradition, and they were always saying, and of course he was doing it gratis her, and he was mouthing her sentiments, that tradition is old-fashioned, and you need to update things. I wonder how she's going to do it. Maybe at the moment of the Magnificat, we're going to have everybody take out a silver spoon, cocked finger, and maybe have half an avocado and eat it. I think that might be classy. And, I don't know what else she'd be able to come up with. Oh, yeah, I know what else she could come up with. Why should we have all those people in colour? I mean, it's not classy. What's classy is black. Everybody should wear black or grey. And if brown doesn't suit them, brown. Well, it's all about her in her head. So I think we get the point. The Linda Edit says, as a narcissist, is it even possible for megalize? I love that one. I'm going to read it again because I love it so much. As a narcissist, is it even possible for megalize to think the coronation wouldn't include her in a major role? Her world revolves around herself, and her self-denial is incredible. Well, the world does revolve around her. Of course it does. Gotta revolve around me. I'm the only thing that counts. That's right. I mean, I'm just spectacular. I'm so special. I mean, I was a supermodel, you know. And I have the longest legs in Hollywood. Best shape, too. And not to mention my fabulous feet. They're nice and big, so you can't miss them. Mm. And who needs a waist? I don't need a waist. I've got style. I've got long legs. Yes, I have. Well, yes. Her lack of insight is actually amusing when it's not annoying. But I think with narcissists and people of that ilk, one will of necessity waver between entertainment and annoyance, which may be a part of the hook. Variable reinforcement is always more effective than ordinary reinforcement. It's one of the rules of psychology, evidently. And it is a technique that all narcissists practice to the hilt, quite naturally. They didn't need to study it in psychology. They know it naturally. Ingrid Thompson says, "Dearest Lady C, will you be attending the upcoming coronation? If so, will you wear a tiara? I would love to see what tiara you would wear. You are always so beautifully accessorized. Love to your fluff babies as well. Aurora?" Ingrid Thompson sends love. I'm giving Aurora a little stroke. It would be very extraordinary for me to attend the coronation because I have no official role. And indeed, many of the aristocracy who used to have official roles may no longer have them. The whole thing is up in the air at the moment. Nobody knows who's going to be asked and who isn't going to be asked. But I know I'm not going to be asked, and I'll tell you why I know I'm not going to be asked. Because the idea was suggested to me that I host a coronation ball down here at Castle Goring on the night of the coronation, because there is no event of any spectacle on the night of the coronation. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who's going to be doing it. In fact, I know I'm not the only person throughout the land who will be doing it. Other people will be doing it as well. Flying the flag and celebrating for our local area. And so that the public and the community will be a part of the whole. It is going to be thrown open to the public and on a first come first served basis. And any money that is raised is going to be raised and contributed to care for veterans. So it's for one of the veteran societies. And so I'm going to be pretty occupied. So let me put it that way. I think it would be very unlikely that I would be asked. If I'm asked, obviously I'd have to go, but I don't think I'm going to be asked. Sunshine, who's a very naughty person, I've got to tell you. I know who Sunshine is. Sunshine is impeccably connected, extremely grand, very loyal, and naughty, because Sunshine has made sure that I answer this question. Surely it would be the height of bad manners for the king to ask his daughter-in-law's mother to the coronation, but not her father, when he hasn't even been to jail? Is that a requirement for attendance at the coronation, or at least a requirement to receive an invitation? Sunshine? So, don't know what sunshine means, right? Asking the question like that. But no, of course, Thomas Markle has not been to jail, and of course it would be the height of bad manners. And for what it's worth, everybody in royal and aristocratic circles knows you don't need to have been introduced to somebody to ask them to a wedding or to a coronation. According to Meghan, her father was asked to her wedding. Therefore, the king would have no valid reason to not ask her father if he were asking her mother. Because it's not a social event, it's not a private event, it's a state event. And there needs to be a degree of uniformity. And if you're asking the parents of in-laws, you don't cherry pick. After all, the king's father made sure that even his German relations were asked to his wife's coronation. That is the present king's mother's coronation. So, Sunshine is being very naughty, and I wonder if Sunshine isn't trying to send a message somehow. Wouldn't surprise me, naughty, naughty Sunshine. Betty Ashley says, the only way to deal with traitors in the royal family is to turn off the spotlight from our gaze. Narcissists hate this and will lie about you in the dark forever. They lie about you in the clear as well. Lady C, apart from dying on May the 6th or releasing their own porn video, yuck, thug and thuggette will not be the centre of attention on the news, press, etc. It will be our beloved King Charles III and Queen Consort William and his family. Do you agree? P.S. I'm following your elegance with just enough bling. You are wise and beautiful. God bless your sterling work. Thank you very much, Betty Ashley. That's very kind of you. Yes, actually, you're absolutely right. Whether Meghan and Harry come or don't come, whether she announces that she's pregnant or not, whether she loses the baby in the middle of the service or just before or not, whether he's hawking his wares on CBS or not, whether she is with Ellen and Portia or not, she and Harry are no way going to be overshadowing the king and the queen at their coronation. Yes, they might be mentioned, and in fact they will definitely be mentioned whether they attend or not, but they will be what they were at the Queen's Jubilee, very third rate, of little significance. Harry and Meghan misunderstood as all B-grade movie actors with A-grade pretensions have always understood, to their detriment after it was too late to correct the mistake of their original misunderstanding, which is The studio, honey, is always bigger than its B-listers. And what makes the royal family as great as it is isn't the personalities of the individuals. It is their positions, and when they live up to those positions, they add luminosity to the position and to themselves, and their characters shine more brightly than they would otherwise have shone. But without the royal platform, royalty is like a B-grade movie actor without a studio pushing him or her to be luminous. So I couldn't agree more. Those are the realities of the situation. That is what the dynamics are. And no matter, Harry and Meghan will get a little bit of attention, but no matter what she does, she's never going to overshadow the event, nor is he. So I think they need to understand their place in the scheme of things, which they have never understood, never wanted to accept, and have fought against, trying to puff themselves up, and they make themselves more important than they are. I've always said to my children, one of the secrets of a good life and a successful life is to understand exactly how important and unimportant you are, and don't over-egg the pudding. They have over-egged the pudding. They're just not as important as they'd like to be, which doesn't mean that they are not important, because they are important in various ways, just not the ways they'd like, and not to the extent that they would like to believe they are. Now, we come to some really interesting stuff about Meghan's bump. Diane Hernandez says, not a Meghan fan, say the woman is in incredible shape. Have you seen her impossible yoga poses? There is no question in my mind that she is able to squat while pregnant and get back up. That's the beauty of yoga. Diane Hernandez, well observed. But if it was just limited to that, the speculation would be pointless. But it's not limited to that, because no matter how practiced a yogi you are, you cannot absorb a fetus that is huge between closed legs without some miracle taking place. Maybe it's yogi doing yoga, or maybe it's something else. That's one of the causes of the speculation. The completely bizarre way that the fetus just disappeared between closed legs, as if it were made of rubber, when everybody knows that a fetus is made of skin and bone and muscle. So, next one. 3 times Mum says, I don't understand the talk about Meghan's pregnancy. I know many people who love to find fault with Meghan, and I certainly don't like Harry and therefore Meghan's behaviour. But I don't think we need to invent more things. their behavior is more than enough. I have 3 kids. I could actually get up and down without too much trouble until the last month of my pregnancy. My first child was 1 year and 3 months old when I had my second child. Who was going to carry my 1-year-old if I didn't? I worked in the nursery with children aged 0 to 3 when I was pregnant with my third and last child. I think Meghan was pregnant. 3 or 4, it's 4 exclamation marks. Well, I hear what you're saying. Were you able to absorb your baby bump? Because that's the sticking point. Where did the baby bump go to? That's the troubling thing. And since I've never carried a child to full term, I'm not an expert on the subject. So I rely on experts. And you're certainly 3 times more of an expert than I am. But what you are saying affirms what the previous questioner said. But does it, if you could tell me where the baby bump went, I think that would assist me in clearing up a lot of the speculation that people have. Where did the baby bump go when she was 8 months pregnant and getting down on her haunches with her knees closed? If you can answer that, I'm sure a lot of people would be delighted to accept that you are absolutely right and they have no justification whatever for their suspicions. But until you or someone else can explain to them how such a phenomenon is physically possible, I trust you will understand why there is speculation and why one cannot just airily dismiss the speculation without disrespecting those who are speculating, because they have what is on the face of it an extremely valid point. Annette Ingle says, Harry's wife never gave birth to any child. She didn't research properly about how you move while pregnant. Annette Ingle, that is an observation that other people have made. So this, of course, is a mystery that I would love to see cleared up. I don't understand why Meghan and Harry simply don't clear it up through the official channels. Anne Hopkins says, when she was preggo, knees together, yet when on that Ellen show, not preggo, knees were apart, laugh out loud. Well spotted, Anne Hopkins. Well spotted. But we're now going to hear what Support Your Food Bank has to say. Meghan had to keep her knees locked together, a position she is most unfamiliar with, to keep the moon bump in place. That, I fear, is the speculation of an awful lot of people. I cannot comment one way or the other. I'm not an expert on the subject. I can only be a conduit. So, the final question is Cecilia Hicks. Dear Lady C, love your videos. I'm an American who loves British royal history. I love your knowledge of royal history and your insight on all the topics you cover. You are a beautiful lady. Thank you very much. I take it you mean internally. That means even more. My question is, had Princess Diana lived, Do you think she would have seen Meghan for what she is and given her a smackdown and sent her on her way? Do you think had Diana lived to today that Harry would be in the mess with Meghan that he is now? Cecilia Hicks, it's a very good question, and I'm going to give you a very simple answer. Diana was very wily, clever, and had a whole load of nous. She also was very devious and manipulative and was very insightful, and she could spot a vulnerability 1,000 miles off, and when it suited her, she could exploit it to the maximum. She would have seen Meghan before Meghan even got out of the plane as it was landing at Heathrow. And Diana was very vociferous. She was not one to keep her counsel or hide her light under the bushel. Why do you think Harry is so used to the histrionics and the dramatics and the sometimes irrational, dominating, controlling, unreasonable behavior to which people who know Meghan well say she has always been prone, and that Trevor knew so well? And doubtless, according to people who know Harry, he does as well. Some of it reminds him of his mother. That makes it familiar. That at times has made it acceptable. I don't think any of this would be happening if Diana were alive. I think she would have created the biggest hue and cry. And I'd have to tell you, Diana and I have many traits in common. I can be pretty inflammatory as well when I need to be. So I don't think that if Diana were alive today, that Harry would be in this mess. First of all, he would not be in the relationship with Meghan at all. Meghan would have had no appeal for him at all, because Diana wouldn't have died. He wouldn't have had the guilt, the melancholia, the conflict, the yearning, the need to replace his adored mother that he has quite naturally developed as a result of her dying before the age of 14. So, keeping all of that in context, I don't think he'd have had any interest whatsoever in Meghan. And if he had, I think Diana would have seen her off quicker than you can say boo. That's right. Diana, in her own way, was very much a lady. And I can tell you, no lady who had any nous whatsoever would have tolerated Meghan Markle as a daughter-in-law once she came with her abrasive, bumptious, arrogant, impertinent, pushy. Who do you think you are? I'm great. I'm a star from Suits. Spare me. Diana would have seen her off quicker than you can say boo. And on that note, I will say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. If it has, please keep the questions and comments coming in. This is not possible without you. Thank you. God bless. Goodbye. And please, if you have enjoyed it, like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and have a good day. Bye-bye.